start our meeting again. Okay, are we ready? Okay, great. So now, welcome back. We are at item 12, Pillar Point Harbor Dock Fingers Replacement. Augment GHD Incorporated's project budget by $5,070 to respond to Coastal Commission new and additional information requests regarding project permit application. Wow. Mr. Grinnell.
Yes, this is a small but important item that continues our ongoing work to replace the dock fingers at Pillar Point Harbor. As a consequence of the Coastal Commission's questions, which we have provided as an attachment to this memo, GHD, which is handling the permit application for the project, basically has found that its budget is short by $5,070, and so they've requested approval for an augmentation of that amount. Straightforward.
So moved.
I hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I hear a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yes, can you tell me roughly what percentage this is of the GHD contractor payments we've made for them so far?
It's tiny. I don't know the full amount.
Less than 10%? Less than 10%?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Was GHD aware of what types of information the Coastal Commission would need in advance of making their bid, or?
No.
They weren't. And do they work in the coastal zone normally, or is this a new thing for them?
The level of detail that you provide here in this letter, or that they provide rather, was not known in advance.
Okay. Did we check with the Coastal Commission in advance to see what kind of things they would require?
Yeah, they were in contact with the commission, but basically standard operating procedure for the commission is to receive applications and then they review them and come up with questions as they see fit.
Okay, so to meet all the items outlined in the letter, such as removal of construction debris from project area, things like that, which sound like things that are pretty basic.
I can't comment on anything specific. If you want to put the item over, we can call up the Coastal Commission and GHD and get full reports and delay the project.
I just think that I want to make sure that anybody that we're working with is doing their due diligence to try to get a good sense of what's going to be required when they give us the bid. And I don't know if that happened or not, but I hope that that does happen going forward.
I'll call the question, Mr. President.
Okay. Do I hear a call for the question? So let's do a roll call,
Commissioner
please.
Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Perry-Long?
Aye.
Commissioner Tucker?
Aye.
President Bernardo?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 13.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Yes,
Just
Mr.
for the record, who made the motion second?
Commissioner Tucker made the motion and Commissioner Perry-Long made the second.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 13, we have amend fiscal year 2013-14 integrated operating and capital budget. And this was this report's by Ms. Galarza.
Yeah, okay. In her absence, I will take that. Yeah, this is straightforward item for the benefit of the public. I'll explain what is on Exhibit A that accompanies the resolution. There are two items that came up subsequently to the budget being passed, which requires an augmentation of the budget. Item number 1 is the strategic business plan. While the process of deciding to do a strategic business plan, issue a request for proposals for consultants, select a consultant, and enter into a contract was not known. Ultimately, that led to approval of a contract for $274,515. That's the main item for augmentation. The second item is an increase in the facilities condition survey of $35,000. Some additional task work was needed for that, and so the total comes to $309,515, which we recommend the budget be extended for.
I would so move, Mr. President.
I have a question.
Okay, I hear a motion and a second. There's a question, Commissioner Brennan?
So when we approved the strategic business plan, we approved it for $274,000, right? That was what we approved. And so the increase is not in that cost, the increase is in the condition survey, am I understanding that correctly?
No.
Two budget things, the $274,000 was never in the 13-14 budget, so
You're adding it
we're
in?
adding that in.
Okay,
And the facility survey was in the budget for 30, but the proposal came back for 65, so we're adding that difference.
I see, you're adding 30K to make up for
We're
that.
adding 35, yes.
And wasn't that a motion where Commissioner Tucker said put a cap on the spending? Is that, am I recalling that correctly? I seem to remember that. Okay, that answers my questions.
Thank you. I hear a motion and a second. So let's do roll call, please.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Holsinger?
Aye.
Commissioner Petrivano? Commissioner Tucker? President Bernardo?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. We are now at staff reports, general managers, finance, and HR. But before we do this, I have a public comment card for item 15, which is under finance report, so why don't we do that right now? So Mr. Ullum?
Okay, first of all, thanks to staff. That was one large PRA request that you guys put together for me. You crashed my email server. And so I talked to you about that. A few of them were corrupted, so I didn't get everything, but I got enough to save notes. Honestly, a lot of work. I want to thank whoever made it happen, because the last I remember was that you voted not to do it. And that Mr. Grinnell made a really big deal about having to inform, 600 or 1,000 of your customers. So, did that happen?
Yes, it did.
You guys informed us?
Sure.
1,000 people?
Yep.
Okay, I'll file a get the letter for that. So, whoever changed it, thanks a lot. Now, what I can tell you is, my reason for wanting it were those negative balances. I have not yet had a chance to look through very much of those. But I can tell you that I did look at about 4 different customer numbers, tracked them through, and they did exactly what their staff said they would do. Or at least what I figured they would do per what your staff has told me those negative numbers represent. It really leads me to wonder, what was the big deal? Why did I have to fight for 6 months to get those reports? You all wouldn't be seeing me here anymore if you hadn't tweaked my interests 6 months ago by denying me access to information using pretty implausible reasons. So anyways, thanks a lot for the data. The one other thing I was able to gather out of it was that you have a very strange problem where I cannot get your June 30th age receivable reports to match up to the total shown on your June 30th audits. Typically, they are off by over $100,000. We think that some of that is represented by bad debt that you're writing off. And we try our best to look for the numbers that you could possibly have taken out and then added back in to see how we can make the June 30th receivables match the audits. Can't do it. Like I say, it looks to be off by $100,000. What I can tell you is that your receivables are constantly and almost exponentially at this point increasing. That back in 2004, there's a meeting where I found the minutes where some of you people who are here were complaining about how large the receivables were and how hard it was, the collections that you were having to do. In 2008, you have a set of minutes where your finance director, who again is not here, complains about having over 1,000 reconciliations to do. Now that would represent decades of work if she was talking about bank reconciliations. So, well, maybe you can explain, see you're shaking your head, and maybe you can explain to me after what was the 1,000 reconciliations. But anyways, just to get it fast, I know you had a long day. 2010, you knew you had a problem with age receivables and people were taking too long to pay. You again decided you were going to change your policies. I think it was 2011, Mr. Grinnell changed the policy. There was no vote on it. Don't really know what the changes were. Your receivables are still going up. Your audits don't match your receivables. Does anybody care to explain? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are back at staff reports. So, general managers, finance, and HR reports.
Yes, you have my report. I'll take any questions. However, I do have one additional item that I'm compelled to bring to your attention as an alert. You may be aware or not, but I'll assume that you're not. The Romeo Pier is in imminent danger of total collapse, and we've been monitoring it. Pieces are falling off it. It's swaying more. The building is on the end is swaying a bit. This is a result of high winds and storm activity from February into April, and so in consultation with our harbor master, we've concluded that we need to consider demolition in the interest of public health and safety and environmental protection. And so we've contacted the Coastal Commission and asked for an emergency demolition permit. They said submit it. It's a one-page form. We have submitted it with backup material. So we're waiting to see if they will give us that. It may be that they will not, in which case we might be able to get an expedited permit. They understand the nature of the thing. We've sent them photographs as well. The other aspect of this, of course, is that we will need to come back to the Harbor Commission with a report and recommendation to move ahead in preparation for demolition. And so that'll be coming to you. We are anticipating in the month of May, ideally the first meeting in May, at worst the second meeting in May. Again, the question of how much it might cost remains to be seen until we have the engineers present a plan, which would be why we would come back to you initially. We would then need to go to bid. Again, the Coastal Commission might find that they cannot give us an emergency approval until they get a bit more information, but at least we've started the process. So you should be aware of it now. On just one final item, on the question of cost, the possibility exists that what we might do is just remove the building off of the deck, or what's left of the deck, as a relatively inexpensive alternative, just to kind of prevent a full-scale collapse. And what we're contemplating doing, as and when we can go to bid, will be to ask for bids with several alternatives. One would be complete demolition of the entire structure. The second would be just the building, and the third would be something in between. One of the factors relating to this will be the question of mitigation credits. We would like to receive from the Coastal Commission mitigation credits for removing fill. Piers are considered to be fill, and those mitigation credits would go toward, for example, building a new pier someday at a different location. And so we're not in a position yet to decide in terms of a recommendation until we go through some of this process. So that's what's coming down the line, and we'll keep you posted and bring to you what's needed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Questions? Comments?
Commissioner Holstein.
Yes, thank you. First of all, the question, is it possible to cordon off with buoys or other floating devices and ropes the area around Romeo Pier to keep away the casual, curious public?
Well, the pier itself has been fenced off and reinforced. In terms of on the water, we would certainly need to take whatever necessary steps, probably in consultation with the Coast Guard, to mark it as a navigation hazard, because I do not anticipate getting approval from the Coastal Commission and the Water Board to literally remove what's left of the pilings, because they're old creosote pilings, and that might cause a lot of environmental disturbance. That's item number one. Item number two is it's also going to be that much more expensive, and we might not need to do it if we can satisfactorily demarcate the no sail zone.
Okay. The next sort of half comment, half question, you talked about the mitigation. I guess, is that the same as preserving the footprint so that we retain the right to build an alternate?
That is correct.
Okay, so that answers that question. And Romeo Pier is a part of history of the coastside.
Yes.
And so I would encourage staff to consider working with the press, or for instance, the San Mateo County Historical Society in this process to make sure that the bit of history is preserved. My only concern is, even though we're here with a broadcast or videotaped public session, we don't want to create press that's going to draw the curious to come take a look at it in a way that's going to create a safety hazard. But we do want to make sure everything we can do to preserve the bit of history, including just simply the photographs of it's being demolished if necessary.
Oh, well said. And the Historical Society would definitely be the contact.
One of the things I have already looked at in our requirements for when we move towards a consultant and steps of that nature to demolish is to preserve through film footage, etc., drawings, whatever we have. So it does go to the Historical Society. I've made a contact, but they haven't called back yet. But I would propose that we would be doing it probably ourselves, through our consultant ourselves, to gather all that information. So one, it's probably on our website as well as given to the Historical Society, so that they have pictures of what was there.
Right.
You know, because I mean, it's probably one of the most well-painted in artistry type modes of anything out there.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
One suggestion is that perhaps it would make sense to contact the Coastside Arts League, and I don't know the exact name of the organization, but they do have an small exhibition space. I've been to shows there in Half Moon Bay, and I know that there'll be a lot of people that are really sad and hurt that this pier is going away, because they painted it, they photographed it, they love the color of it. So it would be nice to have some sort of a show where those people who have images could showcase them and maybe bring in the historical information as well.
The other piece that I plan on trying to accomplish in this, if it doesn't fall over before we do a demo, is to survey what wood is there that is still in good shape. What I did in a demo project of a much larger facility that was wood from World War I period, is to find the other historical groups, provide the wood to them by request. They would pay for the hauling and everything, but we'd stack it up and say, here's all the 2x20s, 2x12s, whatever, you know, because then they can have that historical grain of type of wood for their structures they're trying to rehabilitate. And it's a win-win for them.
Do we have any vague estimations as to what it would cost to remove the structure?
Not at this time.
And
Depends
how
on what
long-
happens.
I see that we have it included as something that we want to put in the budget. So how long is it going to take to get a bid or estimates to remove it?
Well, if we can bring to you in May, early May, a recommendation to get moving, we would then get, as an outgrowth of that, a whole plan of action and an estimate of cost. At that point, we would then be in a position to go to bid, assuming that the permit process moves along without a hitch. As usual, we will need to be approved by the Coastal Commission, the Regional Water Board, Corps of Engineers, and the State Lands Commission.
But we could get an estimate before we get all those approvals.
An estimate, yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Are we doing 15-2 now or not?
We're doing 14, 15, 16 right
Okay.
now. I just want to do them as a package the way they're set up there. So
Okay. I think I recall requesting, pretty positive I recall requesting a update in the form of a Excel document or something, a PDF, on where we're at with the fish buyer fees. And I know I also talked about including just what the fee structure is in our fee worksheets, which we had earlier on the agenda, but obviously that wouldn't include what people are actually paying. But I wanted to get the updated data on what has been paid to date, like month by month, because I know it's a monthly payment. It's not a weekly or bi-monthly. So I'd like to get that information. I don't need it immediately, but, you know, it's sooner the better would be great. And then, let's see. Oh, I was wondering if we could get an update on where we're at with installing the Wi-Fi?
On what?
Installing Wi-Fi?
Oh, see?
I just,
okay, please go ahead.
That was the question.
Okay.
To whomever.
I just spoke with Steve today. He just received the WAPs were on back order, so I think we got them last week, which the last couple of weeks has been a little crazy weather. So he hopes to get those up, I'm going to say within the next month, but part of that is my process. We talked about, you know, we're going to have two separate wirelesses there. We have the public wireless and the private wireless, which is us, because it's going to come off of the same internet base. And I'm going to also have to put together a document that comes up on the splash page immediately that says, you know, you use this, it's a public entity, but there's certain things that you can't do so that we don't have people running pornography websites or stuff or whatever. So there's that wording that I have to get to be able to put up on the page, and that's going to be part of the process of putting it up. So we hope to get, it's not going to be the whole harbor yet. What our first step is going to be is to put some WAPs up on the harbor office, because that's immediate and that's easy to do. So around that immediate area, it will be up and running, and then we'll do the rest of it in stages.
So like,
I'm hoping, when I talked to him today, he's hoping to get that up in the next week or two.
so he's looking at that as kind of a test to,
Right, we want to get it up on the harbor office first so that we can, you know, get it out there and we'll know what we're looking at.
So you mean the harbor master's office?
Harbor master's office.
At Pillar Point Harbor?
Correct.
But not here
Correct.
yet?
That'll be kind of the next step is
Okay.
here in the office, because what has to happen is we also have to it's kind of convoluted, we have to contact Comcast as well, and that's part of stage 2, for them to hook up because right now we're just going to feed off of the internet access that we already have to that building, so we're just going to split that into 2, a public and a private. The other part is we have to contact Comcast, have them put actual internet out there for here and there, so that's a little bit complicated. But I wanted to get something up so we could go up and running.
Okay.
Since that's...
So they don't have Wi-Fi currently at
They
that?
do, that's what we're able to do, but ultimately we want to be able to use the Comcast. It's better, faster, bigger.
Okay.
So ultimately, that's where we want to go.
Okay. And so we're going to start with just something that's available to the staff, but not to the public?
It'll be on the outside, it'll be to the public, but, I'm not sure how far out.
What the
it's gonna
radius
go
would be.
at first, but at least it'll be, quick up, so we're not waiting. I'd like to see something up as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you. That was it.
Oh, and on the finance report, if you ever put a copy of the lien sales on, and she just wanted to let you know that the Oyster Point Marina lien sale had been changed to May 14th.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're done with that. So we are now at B, operations, Oyster Point Marina Park and Pillar Point Harbor. Harbor Master Grindy.
Yeah, just a couple of extra items. I didn't get time back when this was written. Peter mentioned earlier the Romeo Pier. We had already scheduled before the pier started shaking apart here with the windstorm. We'd scheduled a new chain link gate and protection there so that kids wouldn't climb out at the gate location. That's been installed a few feet out from where the pier starts. So that will help in our, I think it was Commissioner Holsinger's question about safety around the pier. The sewer hole, as you're aware, the underground sewer past the pier under by the restroom area. We won't know exactly what happened yet until they dig the hole, which will probably be Thursday. At this point, they've had to wait for the locate company to come out and mark the asphalt because the same location has electrical conduits for the pier, has water for the pier, fire water lines for the pier, as well as a sewer line. So when they dig, they have to dig very carefully. It's going to be a big rectangle hole out there. And one of the things, once we do the repair, if whatever we find to fix, we'll probably be also replacing a couple of the water valves that are underground that area, just so that we can not have to dig that hole up again to fix a water valve or something that's 20 years old that may fail later. So we're trying just to fix whatever we can when we're in the hole. And then we'll be putting backfill, it's called CDF. It's a liquefied mud of sorts, but it doesn't require a tamper compactor in there so that we don't have settling issues after the fact with the trucks for the salmon coming through. And we're hoping to put a thicker layer of asphalt on the outbound lane to also help. And we'll probably put a cage or some version of a box around that type of areas that are critical for load impact before they backfill. Let's see, then the other thing is the electrical project is moving next week to the Pillar Point side. They'll be doing some trenching work between the west restrooms and the maintenance shop for refrigeration power for containers there, as we talked about before. And so there'll be a little bit of parking lot disruption, but not too much. And trying to think of anything else here just off the top, but you have my report, and I think we already talked about the commendations in here as well, so.
Thank you.
Any news about, you were going to look into the sidewalk? I forget.
This last week kind of went nuts.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, the sewer thing just kind of blew everything out of the water,
So that's
so to
coming.
speak. I have looked at it a little bit. The first thing we did was we sent the old drawings out to be scanned, so we'd have it electronic. I figured that's the first step, so at least as we start to share those old drawings for discussion or whatever, at least we don't have to keep pulling the old set out to where it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
And then we'll kind of move from there forward.
thank you.
Anything else? And Harbor Master Grindy, what's going to be happening here at Oyster Point on Saturday?
Oh, thank you. It's going to be a long day already.
It's going to be a long week.
It's going to be a long week with
It's gonna be
Saturday,
a long
too.
week.
We
What's
have.
happening Saturday?
Thank you for the reminder. No, I am not dressing up in the Easter Bunny outfit, but we do have a bunny to arrive.
Oh, wow.
We have the Easter egg hunt starting at 9 o'clock Saturday morning. It will incorporate probably the first couple hours with hunting for eggs. That will be all along this back, that would be the south side of the property. And then also we have the Coast Guard, unless they get an emergency, showing up with a Coast Guard helicopter rescue hopper for the kids to take a little bit of tours of and stuff. The Dragon Boat groups from Oyster Point will be doing Dragon Boat demonstrations, and later on in the morning given Dragon Boat rides. There'll be a photo booth down there where you can put funny hats on and everything else, just as a kind of thing for kids. And I know I'm forgetting something else right now that's happening with that, but there's a craft fair here too.
And free hot dogs.
Oh yeah, free hot dogs, yeah. We'll be doing hot dogs out here in the parking lot.
No hamburgers?
No hamburgers this time. We're keeping our budget down.
This is after the egg hunt?
I'm sorry?
This is after the egg hunt?
Oh, yeah. We actually, we invited our favorite taco truck that's up on the corner in too, because he showed last time and ran out of food. There were so many people, with 600 people showing up, so he even said he's bringing a cotton candy machine. So those kids may have a little too much sugar this time, but
I have lots of space.
yeah.
Be bouncing around.
But we're hoping for a good showing and good weather.
Fantastic, thank you. So we are now at item 18, committee reports, none. Commission statements and requests. So why don't we start, how about Commissioner Holsinger?
Nothing tonight, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tucker? Nothing. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Paravano? Okay, Commissioner Brennan?
I'd like to request that the board give, since we were presented with this information from Fishline at public comment, that the board read it and consider it. I know that Fishline has been incredibly helpful for our commercial fishing fleet, and especially the fishermen who that sell fish right off their boats really benefit from it, and the public, and it really does help cut down on greenhouse gas emissions, because people don't drive over to Pillar Point Harbor if they know that the fish that they want isn't there. They plan their trips accordingly, and if a fisherman runs out of something, then they can tell you what other fishermen to go to at the harbor to find what you need, which is really helpful. So it's a super popular app. It's widely downloaded, and it's become a resource for people that live in San Mateo County. We were the first location to ever have this app. We're the place where it originated, and now the app has grown to harbors up and down the coast of California. And we got it for free because we were basically like the test site, and it's been a success, and other harbors and marinas are paying for it. And I think if you review this, you'll find that the cost is pretty minimal, especially when you compare it to what we spend on some of the events that we sponsor. And I think that there's ways that we could use the marketing that's provided through the app to benefit the district and our public information interests. So I don't think we're tapping into it quite the way that we could. We probably have to have a better social media presence in order to do that, but that's something that we should build. And this app really fits in with our mission. And it's a local company too, so we'd be supporting a local business. So I'd just like to ask the board to give it some consideration. maybe, hopefully this will come up at a future meeting. Thank you.
And I have no statements tonight. So with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I hear a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Whoops, I'm sorry. We're supposed to do a roll call.
Commissioner Brennan?
Aye.
Commissioner Alexander?
Aye.
Commissioner Farrell?
Aye.
Commissioner Heather? President Bernardo?
Aye. And meeting is adjourned. Thank you.